The visit. A stranger in the rain. The rain was heavy that night. Thunder rolled across the sky. The trees outside shook as strong winds passed through the small town. Inside a quiet house at the edge of the woods, John sat alone with a hot cup of coffee. His old radio played soft music. Everything felt normal until he heard a knock. Knock! Knock! John looked up. It was almost midnight. Who would come at this hour? He walked to the door and opened it slowly. What he saw made him freeze. A tall woman stood in the rain. She wore a long black coat. Her skin was pale, almost silver. Her eyes were large and deep blue. Not human. She didn't speak at first. She just stared at him. The rain poured down her face, but she didn't seem to care. Finally, she said, "Hello, John." He stepped back, confused. "Do I know you?" She shook her head slowly. "No, but you should." John looked again. She was strange, yes, but something about her felt familiar. "What do you want?" he asked. The woman took something out of her coat. A small metal box. She held it with both hands carefully, like it was something important. "She's your daughter," the woman said softly. John blinked. "What are you talking about?" The woman opened the box. Inside was a photo, a baby. The baby had large eyes. Her skin was a soft gray color. But the most shocking part, "She has my eyes," John whispered. "Yes," the woman said. "She's yours." From that night, 15 years ago. John shook his head. "I think you've got the wrong man. I don't remember anything like that." "You don't remember," she said. "But you will." She stepped into the house without waiting for permission. The door closed behind her with a soft click. John didn't stop her. He felt like he had seen her before. Somewhere. In a dream? A nightmare? 15 years ago, she began, standing near the fireplace. "You were on a hiking trip. You camped alone in the mountains. Remember?" John's heart skipped a beat. Yes, he remembered that trip. He had told people he got lost for a few hours. But the truth was something strange happened. "There was a light," he whispered. The woman nodded. "You were taken, not harmed. We needed you, your DNA." John stepped back. "You're telling me you're an alien?" She smiled. Not cruelly, but gently. "We don't use that word. But yes, I come from far beyond your world. And this child, she's mine? Yes, she is not fully like you, and not fully like us. She is something new." John sat down, his hands shaking. "Why are you here now?" "She needs her father." John looked up. His voice broke. "Where is she?" "She's coming," the woman said. "She doesn't know you, but she will find you. She's a very different. You must not fear her." "Why me?" John whispered. "Why did this happen to me?" The woman looked at the photo. "Because that night, you were kind. You helped me. You didn't run. You spoke gently. That kindness saved my life. Our leaders chose you. We thought it would be a simple experiment. But something unexpected happened." John's eyes narrowed. "What?" "She was born. And she was perfect." John stared at the fire. His mind raced. Everything he believed, science, logic, his past, was now broken. The woman placed the photo box on the table. "She's almost here," she said. "She's been searching. She can feel your presence. And soon, she will come to your door, just like I did." John stood up. "Wait, what should I do? What does she want?" "She wants to understand, to feel, to know why she is different." The woman turned and walked toward the door. Before stepping outside, she looked back and said, "And she wants her father." With that, she walked into the storm. The door closed behind her. The wind howled louder than before. John stood alone in silence. The photo on the table seemed to glow slightly. He picked it up again and looked into the baby's eyes. His eyes. The fire cracked in the fireplace. And far away, in the darkness, something was coming. The rain had stopped, but John couldn't sleep. He sat by the window holding the photo of the strange baby, his daughter. The silver-skinned woman was gone, but her words stayed in his head like a whisper on repeat. "You don't remember, but you will." Outside, The trees stood still. No wind. No sound. Time itself felt frozen. Then it happened. A sudden pain shot through John's head, like lightning inside his brain. He dropped the photo and fell to his knees. His hands clutched his skull. And then, he remembered. 15 years ago, John was 26, a nature lover, and always hiking alone. That year, he had climbed deep into the mountains, far from people, far from noise. He had set up a small tent by a lake and watched stars till midnight. That night, the stars moved. He laughed at first. Must be a satellite, he had said to himself. But then one of the stars grew bigger and brighter, and it came down. A flash of blue light. Silence. Then he was somewhere else. It wasn't a spaceship, not like in the movies. It was quiet, white, glowing. The air felt thick, like breathing underwater. John stood in the center of a round room. No doors, no shadows, just silence. Then she appeared, the same silver-skinned woman from his door, but younger and afraid. She limped toward him, wounded. Her arm was bleeding blue. John didn't know what to do. He pulled off his jacket and wrapped it around her arm. She looked at him, surprised. Her lips moved, but no sound came. A voice entered his mind. "You helped me." "Why?" he gasped. "You're speaking in my head?" She nodded. "You didn't run." "I thought I was dreaming," he said. She smiled. And for the first time, she looked human. That night, they didn't talk much, but something grew between them. Curiosity, calmness, something strange and soft. She told him her name, though it didn't sound like any human word. He called her Ina. She explained that her people were dying. Their DNA was weakening. Earth had strong life. They needed help. John didn't fully understand, but he agreed to let them take a small sample. If it saves someone, he had said, why not? Before he left, she touched his chest and whispered, "You won't remember. For your own safety." Then, another flash. Back in the present, John sat up on the floor, sweating. His coffee was cold. The fire had gone out. But now, he remembered, Ina, the light, the night that never felt real, was real. And the baby, his daughter. He rushed to the kitchen and poured water on his face. His heart raced. He looked into the mirror and whispered, "I met an alien, and she remembered me." But then something even stranger happened. The mirror flickered. For a second, John didn't see his own reflection. He saw a young girl's face, pale gray skin, glowing blue eyes. She looked lost, scared, and she whispered one word, "Dad." John jumped back. The mirror was normal again. His own tired face stared back at him. He turned around, breathing hard. This can't be real. But it was. Something deep inside him said it was all true. His phone buzzed. One new message. No name. Just one word. Coming. He dropped the phone. Outside, a girl walked through the woods barefoot. Her skin shimmered under the moonlight. Her eyes glowed faintly. She didn't know her name. She didn't know why she was walking. But she felt something. A pull. A voice. A connection. She was looking for someone. A man. A father. Someone who would finally make her feel not alone. She stopped under a tree and touched its bark. The leaves turned green in the middle of summer's end. She closed her eyes and whispered, "Dad." Inside the house, John lit the fire again and stared at the photo. He touched it gently, like it might break. "What are you?" he whispered. He didn't notice. The flame in the fireplace had turned blue. Something had awakened. The town was still sleeping when she arrived. She didn't walk like others. She didn't move like others. She simply appeared. At 5:12 a.m., a security camera on the old gas station blinked. The screen turned to static. Then, for just 1 second, the image of a young girl showed up. She stood in the middle of the empty road. No shoes, no bag, just a long dark hoodie and glowing blue eyes. Then she was gone. John woke with a strange feeling, like someone was calling him, but without words. A silent scream deep inside his chest. He stepped outside. The wind was still. The sky was soft orange. Morning had arrived, but the air felt wrong. like the world was holding its breath. John's phone buzzed again. No number, just a text. She's here. Across town, the girl walked through the park. Leaves fell around her, but none touched her. Dogs barked wildly in their yards as she passed. Children cried in their sleep. People peeked from their windows, but their eyes couldn't focus on her face, like their brains refused to understand what she was. She wasn't hiding, but she didn't want to be seen. She stopped in front of a large oak tree. It was dying, its leaves dry, its trunk cracked. She placed her hand on it, closed her eyes. For 10 seconds, nothing happened. Then, a heartbeat. The leaves turned green again. The cracks closed. The tree stood tall, reborn. She whispered something, not in any known language, but the tree seemed to whisper back. Back at home, John drove his truck into town, his hands tight on the wheel. His heart beat fast. He didn't know what he would do, what he would say, what she would even look like. Would she know me? He parked near the old park. That's when he saw it. The tree, green, alive. But last week it was almost dead. A small crowd stood around it. Some took pictures. Others looked afraid. Miracle, someone said. Witchcraft, said another. John didn't speak. He was looking for her. Then he felt it. A sudden chill. Not cold, something else. Like someone was watching him from inside his own mind. He turned. She stood across the street. She looked about 15. Skin pale gray. Hair jet black. Eyes glowing softly. She didn't blink. John froze. He tried to take a step, but his legs refused. She began walking toward him. Slowly, calmly. People didn't seem to see her. Or maybe they didn't want to. She stopped 1 foot away, looked straight into his eyes. He tried to speak, but no words came. Then, she reached out and touched his hand. Suddenly, everything came back. Memories. His camping trip. The white room. The silver-skinned woman. Her pain. Her eyes. The touch. The baby. His baby. And then her memories flooded in. Loneliness. Cold stars. Lab rooms. Dreams of Earth. Whispers of father. A lifetime of silence. Waiting. John gasped. He pulled his hand back and dropped to his knees. Tears rolled down his cheeks. She looked at him quietly, then spoke one word. Her voice soft, strange, unsure. Dad. Time stopped. John looked up at her, shaking. He wanted to hug her, but was too afraid. Is it really you? He whispered. She nodded. Behind them, the crowd didn't notice. The world kept moving. But for John, this was the end of everything he knew, and the start of something he never expected. Far above them, a satellite blinked. Inside a hidden control room, red lights flashed. A voice spoke into a radio. We've found the hybrid. Repeat, the hybrid has made contact. And in the woods, a silver figure watched them from a distance. Ina. She whispered to herself. Now the real test begins. The town felt different now. Not louder, not quieter, just different. As if something old had been replaced. As if the sky itself was watching. John sat at the edge of his bed, the girl's photo in his hand. But this time, she wasn't just a photo. She was real. She was here. And she was not normal. 2 nights had passed since she touched his hand and called him Dad. She hadn't spoken much since then, but everywhere she went, strange things happened. In the market, a crying baby stared at her, then smiled without reason. In a hospital lobby, an old woman in a wheelchair stood and walked for the first time in 5 years. Just seconds after the girl passed by, birds followed her. Dogs sat in silence around her. People said it was coincidence. Others said miracle. John knew better. It was power. And it was growing. He found her standing in the backyard, barefoot in the cold grass, staring at the stars. They talked to me, she said. John stepped closer. The stars. She shook her head. The cells. The trees. The animals. The clouds. She turned to him. Her eyes shimmered like a clear blue ocean. I hear everything. Suddenly, she looked toward the woods. Without warning, she ran. Wait! John shouted, chasing after her. She reached a tree where a small bird lay on the ground. It had fallen from the branch, wings broken, barely breathing. She knelt beside it and placed both hands gently over it. "Let go," she whispered. A soft light spread from her palms. John watched in silent awe. The bird twitched, then flapped its wings. It rose into the air, perfectly healed, and flew away into the sky. John's legs gave out. He fell to his knees, staring at her like she was a living dream. "How?" he whispered. "I don't know," she said, "but I feel pain, and I want to fix it." That night, the power grid in the town flickered. All streetlights dimmed for 5 seconds, then turned back on, brighter than before. The same moment, deep in a military facility 200 miles away, an alert buzzed. "Unnatural energy spike detected," said a voice. Another screen lit up. "Location: Sector 9, human settlement." One man leaned forward. "She's changing the field around her. It's not just healing, it's reality bending." "Then we act now," someone replied, "before she learns what she really is." Back in the house, John watched her sleep. She looked peaceful, like a normal girl. But in her dreams, she floated through stars. Voices from other worlds whispered her name. Some called her gift. Others called her weapon. And one voice called her by something else. Bridge. She didn't know what it meant. Yet, next morning, the town woke up to news. The lake water had turned crystal clear. A dead tree had begun blooming flowers. In July, a missing dog returned home on its own. Nobody saw her do it, but the town felt her. People started whispering. Fear crept in, and fear always brings watchers. A black van parked near John Street. Inside, 2 men watched live footage from a drone. Zoomed in on her face. "She's active," one said. "Abilities increasing. Orders." The radio crackled. "Bring her in." That night, the girl sat with John. Her voice was soft, almost scared. "I feel something coming." John nodded. "I do too. People don't want me to exist." He didn't know how to answer that, so he said what he felt. "But I do." She looked at him, unsure. "Do you believe I'm good?" she asked. John didn't blink. "You're my daughter. That's all I need to believe." But outside, in the shadows of trees, a silent dart gun loaded. Laser focused on her heartbeat. At 2:39 a.m., the girl opened her eyes. She wasn't dreaming. She was remembering. The stars had always whispered to her. But now they screamed. Images flashed in her mind. Metal ships, burning worlds, 2 voices arguing in a strange language, and finally, her mother's face covered in blue light, and her father's voice. "Run!" She sat up on the couch in John's house. He was asleep in the chair nearby, holding a photo of her, the baby photo Ina had given him. The girl stood quietly and walked outside. The moonlight felt different, and so did she. Across the street, in the black van, 2 agents watched her on the monitor. "She's moving. Wait for command. She's looking right at us." They laughed. But on screen, she was staring straight into the lens. And then the screen went black. Inside the van, all systems shut down. The lights, the cameras, the GPS. Everything died, except the girl's glowing reflection in the windshield. "She knows," one whispered. "She's awake," the other replied. Back in the house, John woke up gasping. Something was wrong. He could feel it. The fireplace had gone cold. His phone wouldn't turn on. Then he saw her, standing in the yard. And behind her, slowly walking out of the trees, Ina. John ran outside. "What's happening? Why are you here again?" he asked. Ina didn't smile this time. "There's no more time for pretending," she said. John looked at the girl. "What is she?" Ina didn't answer. She looked at the sky. A strange rumble echoed above them. Clouds twisted in unnatural shapes. Lights flickered in the stars. "She was never meant to survive this long," Ina said softly. John stepped between them. "What do you mean?" "She was an experiment, John. A gift and a mistake." The girl turned to Ina. "I was born from both worlds. Ina nodded. Yes, that's why you're dangerous. John shouted. She's just a kid. No, Ina said, eyes glowing faintly. She's a hybrid with power that neither side understands. Your DNA mixed with ours created something new. Something we cannot control. John grabbed the girl's hand. She's not a weapon. Ina looked at him, and for the first time her voice cracked. You don't understand. There's another species coming. One that wants to wipe out both our kinds. And they've felt her energy, her presence. John's heart dropped. You mean, she's a target? She's the spark of a war, John. A war she didn't choose. The girl whispered, I don't want to fight. Ina replied, You might not have a choice. Suddenly, a loud boom shook the ground. They all turned. Far above the hills, a ship appeared in the sky. But not like Ina's kind. This one was darker. Spiked. Burning red lights. John stepped back. Who are they? Ina answered with just 2 words. They kill. The girl's hands began to glow. She wasn't angry. She was afraid. But her fear had power now, real power. The grass around her turned silver. The air hummed. John reached out. You don't have to fight. The girl looked up, tears in her eyes. But I think I was made for it. From the ship, 3 shapes dropped down, silent, fast, and inhuman. Black armor, red visors, no faces, weapons aimed at the girl. John stood in front of her. I won't let you take her. They fired. Time slowed. The girl raised one hand. Everything froze mid-air. The bullets stopped. The attackers froze like statues. And in a soft, almost broken voice, she said, No more fear. A shockwave burst from her body, no sound, just force. Trees bent backward. The red-eyed soldiers shattered into dust. The sky cracked with light. And then, silence. John stood in disbelief. Even Ina looked shaken. The girl collapsed. John caught her. She didn't want to hurt them, he whispered. Ina knelt beside her. And yet, she might be the only one who can save us. In the distance, the ship turned and began to retreat. For now, the world was quiet, too quiet. After the blast, nothing moved for hours. No birds, no wind, just silence, like the earth was waiting for her to wake up. John sat beside her, in the middle of the backyard, holding her head gently in his lap. The grass around them had turned silver, glowing faintly where her energy had touched it. She looked like she was only sleeping, but John knew something inside her had changed. Not just power, identity. Ina stood nearby, watching the sky. She looked afraid for the first time. She's no longer just our daughter, Ina said quietly. She's something else now. Something new. John didn't reply. He just whispered, She's still mine. Suddenly, her eyes opened. No glow, just clear, wide human eyes. I saw them, she said, her voice shaking. In my head, thousands of them. Ships, soldiers, worlds burning. She sat up, holding her chest. And they all want me. John helped her stand. They won't have you. She turned to him. Then who do I belong to? That question hung in the air like smoke. She wasn't fully human. And she wasn't fully alien. She was both. And neither. Later that night, she sat on the rooftop, staring at the stars. John joined her. There's a voice inside me, she said. It says I was made to lead. But I don't want to lead anyone. You don't have to, John replied. But I can feel everything. The trees, the clouds, the pain of animals, the sadness of people. It all lives inside me now. I can't shut it off. John looked up at the stars. Maybe that's not a curse. It feels like one, she said. In the woods, Ina activated a holographic map. Red dots blinked across the galaxy. They're moving, she whispered. The enemy knows she's alive. Behind her, a quiet voice spoke. I know. It was the girl. She stood calmly, no longer unsure. I can feel them. Every time they kill. Every planet they burn. Every scream. They've taken too much. Ina looked at her carefully. What are you saying? The girl took a deep breath. I think I know what I am now. Next morning, she stood in the town square. People gathered, not by force, but by instinct. They didn't know her name. They didn't know where she came from. But when she spoke, they listened. I'm not from here, she said. Not fully, but I feel your pain. I feel your fear. She looked at the faces around her, old, young, strangers. I am not your enemy, but something worse is coming. And when it arrives, you'll need someone who understands both sides of the war. Someone in the crowd asked, "What do you call yourself?" She paused, then said simply, "Hope." Later, she stood between John and Ina, looking toward the hills. A ship was waiting, peaceful one from Ina's world. If I go with her, I learn everything, the girl said. I learn to use my power to defend both worlds. And if you stay? John asked. She looked at him, heart heavy. Then I live like a human, hiding, quiet, never knowing what I could have become. A long pause. John stepped forward. I don't want to lose you, she smiled. You'll never lose me. I'm not choosing between you and her. She turned to Ina. I'm choosing between what I am now and what I was born to be. Then, slowly, she stepped forward and placed one hand on the ship. The door opened. John held back tears. She looked at both of them, her parents from two worlds, and said, "Let me become what I was meant to be." The ship rose silently into the sky, and John whispered, as he watched it disappear into the stars. She didn't choose human. She didn't choose alien. She chose everyone. 1 year later, the town had changed. Not much on the surface, the same trees, same streets, same sky. But the people, they watched the stars differently now. They remembered the girl. Even if they didn't speak her name, they remembered. John still lived in the same house. He kept her photo on the fireplace. The real one, the baby photo. And beside it, a new one, drawn by hand. A teenage girl floating in stars, her eyes full of light. He had drawn it the night she left. Every morning he made 2 cups of coffee. One for himself, and one for her, just in case. Then, on the 366th morning, she came back. Not with thunder, not with light, but with silence. John stepped outside as the wind suddenly stopped. He looked at the sky. 1 star blinked, and from it, she came down, slowly, gently, floating like a feather through the clouds. No ship, no noise, just her. When her feet touched the ground, the grass bowed around her. She looked older, taller, calmer. Her eyes still glowed, but now they held something deeper. Wisdom. John stood frozen. He didn't know whether to run or cry, so he just whispered, "You came back." She smiled. "I said I would." They sat under the old oak tree she once healed. It was taller now. The leaves never turned brown again. John asked, "Where did you go?" She looked at the sky. "Everywhere. I saw war. I saw planets made of glass. I saw cities older than Earth itself. I met beings that don't have names." She paused. "I saw fear. I saw greed. I saw death." John looked down. "And what did you do?" She answered, "I listened." He was quiet for a while, then asked, "Why come back here?" She turned to him. "I had to choose who I wanted to protect first. And I chose you." That night they walked through the town together. People peeked from windows, recognizing her. Somehow, a child walked up and touched her hand. "You're real," he said. She smiled, knelt, and whispered, "So are you." From a nearby rooftop, Ina watched. She didn't approach, just observed. Then, silently, she turned and vanished into the sky. Her part was done. In John's house, she sat beside the fire again. This time she wasn't afraid of it. "It's strange," she said. "I've seen stars explode. I've stood on moons made of ice. I've bent time around my hands. But this?" She held up her cup of coffee. Still warm, still real. "This is what I missed." John asked the question he had held in his heart for a year. "What are you now?" She looked at the fire, then at him, and said, "I'm not human, not alien. Not even hybrid anymore. I'm something that didn't exist before. She smiled softly. I'm the answer to a question the universe forgot it asked. Then, she stood up and walked to the window. Outside, the wind returned. The night sky shimmered, but not with danger this time. With peace. Final line, whispered as she looked toward the stars. I'm not from one world anymore. I am two, and I protect them both.